week in Tiger Athletics. I'm your host, Haley White, and joining me today is Jason McCullough, a 15-year head cross-country coach at Fort Hays State University. McCullough guided the men's cross-country team to the 4th place finish at the NCAA Division II Central Region meet last weekend in Joplin, Missouri. It was the Tigers' best regional finish as a team since 2006, when they were 4th at the South Regional tournament meet. On Monday, the men's team was selected by the NCAA to compete in the D2 Championships on November 23rd in Sacramento. It is the 5th time in school history that the men's team has a national meet since 1991, and the first time since 2002 they made the season finale. First off, Coach, congratulations on a great weekend.
Well, thank you.
And getting into that national meet. That has to be great for you and your runners right now.
Yeah, we're pretty pumped about it. It was a long day yesterday waiting for the announcement. They waited till 4. They actually waited about 45 minutes extra, and I was getting pretty nervous, but really excited to get in.
And your team has finished 4th in the regional, and only the top 3 were guaranteed a spot at the national meet. Was it tough waiting until Monday, like you said?
Yeah, no, that was extremely tough. Sunday wasn't bad, but you got into Monday just all day long waiting. Are we going to make it? Are we going to not? I was starting to feel disappointed for the runners if we didn't, but luckily we did. Says a lot about our region and our team, that the fact that they selected us to participate. So.
Did you think that there was a strong chance for you guys to?
I did. We have a strong region. The top 3 teams were ranked in the top 11 in the country, and then the team that we beat was previously ranked 15th in the country. So we had a real strong region, and they competed well against other regions. So I knew we had a real good shot to make it.
You were one of 10 other teams to be invited to that season finale. What does that say about the team and the program this season?
Well, it's really exciting to be invited to compete at the national tournament. So, to compete and to earn an automatic spot would have been great, but for a committee to sit down and say Fort Hays belongs there is really exciting to me.
It's been since 2002 for the men's team to qualify for the nationals. How excited were the runners when you guys found out?
Everybody was excited, and they were texting each other, and I'm just happy to be there. We went into the last few seasons thinking we had a shot to make it, and we have a team this year that is our varsity team. Our top 7 is 6 seniors and a junior. So we knew we had a really good shot this year, and they've worked really hard over the last 4 or 5 years to do that.
And Reed Rome was your top runner last week at the regional. Talk about his performance so far this season.
Okay, we had a lot of runners that stepped up this year in different times and different meets, and Reed really stepped up at the regional meet. He was, I believe, 42nd at the conference meet, and he placed 19th at our regional meet. And our regional meet includes our entire conference, the Northern Sun Conference and the Great American Conference. So you add in 2 other conferences, and he places even better. So he stepped up in a big way, and without him, among all the other athletes, we wouldn't have had a chance to qualify.
Perhaps one of the most impressive things was how your runners were packed together to finish within nearly a minute of each other, especially in a 10K race compared to an 8K. That's not easy to do at a meet like that at all. No,
we've been packed together all year pretty close. We had a spread between our 1st and 5th runners of 41 seconds, and that's a pretty short, narrow spread for a 10-kilometer race. Most of the other teams in front of us and behind us were between 1.5 minutes and 2.5 minutes. So they were really tight, packed up together.
And getting your runners to pack together during races has been the staple to this team year, though, hasn't it?
It has. Our team, we don't have that one low stick runner that's going to win or get 2nd or 3rd. So we have to really run together as a team. So if we can run together and everybody run a great race, we're going to have a good meet.
In the past, you've had some individual standout runners who've had successful seasons, but this year it seems that team running together is what's making those headlines.
Yeah, and I love to have those individual successes. It's great for those athletes, but to have a team qualify for a national meet is even better, because then you get the entire, not just the athletes that are going, but the athletes that were also part of the team that aren't going, that maybe the younger athletes, they can see that, and that gives them something to strive for the future as well.
And you've had a solid group of upperclassmen this season. Talk about how that's been important into buying in the mentality of the sport.
They're just more mature and they know what needs to be done. So when you're young, you don't realize you have to run a certain amount of miles. You don't realize the sacrifices it takes. By the time you get to be a junior and a senior, you know you're getting close to the end of your collegiate running career. You know what sacrifices needs to be made, and then you know you need to just go out there and run the miles. So it's really important, and you see that especially on the men's side. Teams that have a lot of juniors and seniors typically are teams that are a lot better.
And then 5 of those 7 runners who will compete in Sacramento are seniors. What have they meant to you in this program from the start?
Well, it's just great to last throughout a program for 4 or for 5 years. And you don't see that too often because, you know, running's not a glamorous sport. A lot of times school, there's some things in school where you need to step away from the sport. And so you don't get a lot of people that stay within cross country or track, you know, for 4 years, for 4 full years. So to see them do that and the sacrifices that they made, that's really important as a coach, and that's what I like to see. I like to see an athlete that really wants to run. Even when they're graduated, they want to continue running because they love it so much, and I know those guys do.
And you were a former standout runner and All-American here at Fort Hays during your running career. How do you explain your team and what it's like to compete at the national championships and just how exciting that experience is?
Well, you know, I competed there as an individual and as a team. And, you know, I did better my senior year as an individual, but I remember the camaraderie of my junior year when we went as a team. And that was very special to me because I knew I wasn't just running for myself, but for the rest of my teammates. And that's what I really wanted, why I wanted to qualify for this year, because I know those seniors this year will appreciate that 10, 15, 20 years down the line, they're going to remember running with their team at the national meet.
At the preseason, you know, did you think that this would have been a possibility?
I thought it was a possibility. I knew everyone had to run well together. So we've had 6 meets, and in the 6 meets, we've had 5 different athletes be our top runner. And we've had, during those meets, we usually had 1 or 2 runners that did not have one of their best performances. We had to have every runner run their best to qualify. And that's what they did on Saturday, and that's what made it special. And it's not surprising, but when they all do that at the same time together, that makes it special.
And obviously the runners at Sacramento are going to be great runners from great programs. How is it to be a part of that?
That's something special because we're going against every team that's in the top 25, obviously, and then some. And so we're going against the best of the best. And I want the athletes to go out there and to compete hard, to have high expectations, but to realize that, you know, this is something that they're going to look back on and enjoy. And I want them to give it their all. Whatever we place, you know, whether that's in the top 20 or 30th place, I want us to give our all so they can be proud of their effort when we're done.
And how do seasons like this help you build the program into what you want it to be?
Well, it helps with recruiting. We get a lot more exposure. We're out there for a few more weeks. You know, a lot of the athletes like to see the fact that we're successful and that we have, and also that we have a lot of juniors and seniors that remain in the program, that stick together for that long and work together as a team. So this means a lot when it comes to recruiting. It also helps with the morale of the student athletes that are on the team already. So it gives them something to shoot for next year and for the following year.
Aside from, you know, going and competing and that excitement alone, are you excited to head out to California?
Yeah, you know, especially today, it's pretty cold out, and I'm looking at the weather, and it's 60s and 70s in Sacramento. So looking forward to that. Can wear my shorts and go out for a run and have some fun.
Yes, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and good luck.
All right, well, thank you.
When we come back, we will break down the rest of This Week in Athletics.
He often climbs to the 3rd floor of Rarick without taking a second breath. No matter when he submits his assignment to Blackboard, it is considered early, even if it is 5 days late. The line at Starbucks parts when he arrives. He considers the homecoming bonfire a small flame for s'mores. Every time he walks downtown, it's considered a march to Maine. His doodles on scrap paper are framed and hung in Rarick Hall. Once he parked in a 30-minute zone overnight, and the campus police left him a thank you note and a gift card.
I don't always party, but when I do, I register with SGA. Now party responsibly, my friends.
Welcome back. Joining me now is FHSU SID Ryan Prickett, and he's going to help me break down this week in athletics. So football suffered a tough loss, double overtime, 36-33 loss here at home against Northwest.
Yeah, it was one of those games that both teams competed their tails off, obviously, and just the way that game went. We got out to a 17-0 lead, had a really good thing going for us there in the first quarter, and I think everybody was feeling pretty confident about what was going on, and it just got to that point where we make a couple of mistakes, unfortunately, and turn the ball over, turnover on downs, those kind of things where you let a team like that, Northwest Missouri being a championship caliber team the way they are year in, year out, you just cannot give them those opportunities to get back into a football game. And unfortunately that happened. We got down by 2 by halftime, and we knew it was going to be a dogfight from there on out, and at least we kept ourselves in the running in that game. May have had a chance there in the fourth quarter to maybe get it to the end zone, but we made a couple of mistakes, a drop ball, things like that. But all in all, we still fought, got that opportunity. Dante Brown, hats off to that young man, because to nail a 56-yarder when you got to try and send it to overtime. I think that's it's kind of like the last second shot in basketball, like who's going to get the ball and can I hit that 20-foot jump shot to win the game. So that's the kind of situation that was, and he got it done, got ourselves to overtime, and unfortunately things just didn't go our way. Harley given an extra effort on a play, you can't really fault him for what he did. He's trying to get the first down, he's trying to keep us moving, and it was just unfortunately you just reached the ball out right into basically a defender, and they got the ball back, and they have a really good kicker too, and obviously he converted when the going was the clutch time too, and that's just the way it goes against a team like that. So unfortunate for us, and now we got to refocus and hopefully get a win out here on the road this weekend at Northeastern State and close out the season on a good note.
Yes, definitely. Moving on to men's soccer, the GAC tournament begins Friday with a match against Harding at home.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting here in Hayes. We're going to host the GAC tournament in men's soccer. So we got Harding in the semifinals. It's just a 4-team tournament here. So on Friday, obviously, yes, Harding's coming to town, and then on the other side of the bracket we've got Northeastern State and Rogers State. Now we've known Northeastern State for years, and now this year we're just kind of getting acclimated to Harding and Rogers normally being on our schedule. But we did sweep Harding in the regular season. We really beat them by a landslide at their place, but they gave us all we could handle here at home. So you just don't know what's going to happen come Friday afternoon when we get out there, and that's a 3:00 match over there at the FHSU Soccer Stadium. So hopefully that goes well for men's soccer, and hopefully they can make that championship match on Sunday, because like we've talked before in previous weeks of how big these matches ahead are for postseason play and the regional rankings and all that kind of stuff. And we went into this last weekend 9th in the super region rankings, but I feel like with what happened around in the region, the super region, especially with the teams behind us, I think it's going to be pretty hard for them to jump us. So I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at right now, but it would really be nice to just kind of seal the deal and make sure that we're in the playoffs for sure by hopefully winning this conference tournament on our home turf.
And moving on to the women, unfortunately, they fell to Central Oklahoma 3-0 in their conference quarterfinals.
Yeah, and that was a really tough matchup in the first round, but we knew what the stakes were in that match against Central Missouri leading up to the conference tournament. We knew if we could at least have got a point out of that, we probably would have avoided Central Oklahoma in the first round, or just move up higher in the standings. And so unfortunately we had to go to their place, and it wasn't at our place, and we beat them once there earlier this season, but not a lot of teams do that, and they took care of business on their home field. And our women really had a really good season. They had 9 shutouts. You think about it, 10 of their wins were shutouts, so they played really well defensively throughout the year against the teams that they knew they could shut down. And 10-6 and 2 records, really nothing to be ashamed about. It's just unfortunate that we matched up against a really good team in that first round of the tournament, and we knew we had to win the thing probably to get into the NCAA tournament, and unfortunately the thing just didn't break our way this year. So.
After falling in 2 straight matches this week, volleyball will face Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern this weekend.
Yeah, they're going to close out their regular season here at home with those 2 matches. Those are 2 teams that are sitting right in front of them in the standings, so I feel like, here on their home turf, hopefully that's a couple of matches that we might be able to close out the season on a good note. We know right now that we're not going to make the MIAA tournament. The top 8 teams have already been determined. Those 2 teams are 7 and 8 in the conference, so we know where we stand. And so hopefully our ladies, just knowing that, especially our senior class, knowing that's going to be their last 2 matches, hopefully we'll go out there and play our tails off and maybe in that long losing streak that we've been just kind of riddled with for quite a while too. So hopefully we'll play really well at home this weekend.
Wrestling will compete in the Swede Open Saturday at 9 a.m. in Lindsborg.
Yeah, and the wrestling team got off to a good note this last week. They got another tournament coming this week, obviously at Bethany, and a couple of the guys, Jordan Davis and Jonathan Ball, they had some high placements at the Maryville. It's kind of funny what us SID types call Maryville University. Their head coach now is who used to coach the University of Nebraska-Omaha. And Nebraska-Omaha was a really, really successful program at Division II until they just shut down the program about, I don't know, it's probably close to a decade ago now. But the weird thing is they still have like the same title of that tournament, but it's at Maryville University now. So the Kaufman brand opened what used to be Nebraska-Omaha, but it's now in Maryville. But those 2 guys went over there and wrestled really well. Jordan at heavyweight, he actually knocked off a couple of ranked wrestlers. He beat ranked wrestler in Division II and also won in NAI. And the guy he lost to in the finals is actually the number 1 ranked wrestler in NAI. So that's a hard ask to win that match too. But and then Jonathan, on the other hand, I mean, he actually competed against a couple of ranked guys too, beat a ranked guy from Division II in his 3rd place match. So that's a good showing out of those guys early on, because we know Brandon Ball, Jonathan's brother, he's one of the top ranked wrestlers in the nation at 141 pounds, and then also FHSU guys in the national rankings right now too. So those guys picking off some of those ranked wrestlers, that's going to get them a look for those national rankings when the next time it comes around to release those. So
it looks like an exciting season ahead for the wrestlers.
Yes, no doubt.
After going 2-0 on the road, women's basketball will open up at home versus Adams State on Friday and Cameron on Saturday.
Yeah, it's an exciting time for the women's basketball team. First home games of the season here at the Coliseum. I know everybody's kind of been anxious and anticipating the new season. Obviously, coming off a 32-2 season, that was a great year for the ladies. And so, yeah, they got 2 games here, with Adams State and Cameron. Those are 2 teams that have been a little up and down over the years, but our ladies went out on the road this last weekend and got 2 big wins against one team that was in the NCAA regional with us last year, and then one that was just on the edge of getting in but kind of cost themselves by losing a game that they shouldn't have. So those were 2 20-plus win teams that we took care of last week, so that's a really great start to the season for the women. Those should pay dividends. Those wins last week, that should pay dividends down towards the end of the season too, when you get quality wins against teams that are probably going to finish toward the top of their standings in their conference. So a good start for the season for the women, and hopefully we'll have a great weekend here at home.
The men also start the season off 2-0, but they'll be on the road to face Colorado School of Mines and then UC Colorado Springs.
Yeah, another tough weekend for the men. It was awesome to see them go out there on the road and have success to start the year against a couple of GAC schools. Now we're going to go play against the conference we used to be a part of, the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. And Colorado School of Mines has actually perennially been a really good program the last decade. They were in the national rankings again. We were able to pick them off here at home last year before they went on a really big run run, and we're one of the top 20 teams in the nation. So it's going to be a hard ask to go get a win at their place, but I think our guys are up for the challenge. It's good that they have a couple of wins under their belt, so that helps the confidence level too. And then UC Colorado Springs has been a little bit up and down throughout the last couple of years. We beat them here at home last year, and so we're making that return trip out there to face them. And so we'll see how that goes, and hopefully the men will, keep it rolling on the road and maybe get back here to the Coliseum with a really good record before they play some home games.
Well, thanks for joining me today, Ryan. That concludes this episode.
Yeah, thank you.
Tune in next week for another episode of This Week in Tiger Athletics. And as always, to stay up to date on the latest news and information throughout the week, visit tigermedianet.com.